Hi everyone, in this video I'd like to talk with you about virtual immigration interviews. It's something we're seeing being used more frequently, and so you know that our firm likes to share information regularly. If you're going through the immigration journey, you'll want to stay tuned for all of this video to get all of the information about exactly what is happening with virtual interviews and what you can expect. Before I dive into that topic, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm attorney Megan Pastrana. Our firm is the Immigration Firm for Couples. We're dedicated exclusively to assisting couples and navigating the immigration process. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now. We regularly post video updates about important information in the world of immigration for couples, and we also have a Facebook group called Immigration for Couples. So virtual immigration interviews, I'd like to kind of talk about what it is and when they're occurring and what you can expect if you happen to have a virtual immigration interview. For those of you who are going through an immigration process called adjustment of status, that is a process that happens here in the United States, the entire process, or naturalization and sometimes removal of conditions. You would have an interview as part of the process in your case. And we are constantly seeing USCIS, like so many organizations, having to adapt and change as COVID continues to evolve, so we can have social distancing and safety protocols in place. So USCIS is constantly working to find creative and unique ways to be able to conduct interviews, to maintain social distancing, and to complete as many interviews as possible to keep things moving forward and to keep cases moving forward. So what we have been seeing is, maybe if you've gone to an immigration interview recently, maybe you've seen this as well. We help couples all over the United States, so we're seeing in USCIS offices all across the US that the officers will have plexiglass barriers in place, separating themselves from the individuals who's being interviewed. And then there's a little window where you can slide documents through to the officer. So that's one of the things that we have seen, and I discussed that in a separate video. But something that we wanted to share with all of you, something we're seeing happening now with more frequency, is a virtual immigration interview. So what this is and what you should be prepared for is that virtual immigration interviews still happen at the USCIS office. And so what we are seeing is that in some case types, USCIS is working on having this occur in more than one case type, but we're seeing this happen a lot in naturalization cases, is that the officer will conduct a virtual interview. And so you still will attend the USCIS office for your interview that's listed on your interview notice. And so when we have gone to represent clients at their interviews, what happens is that in a virtual interview, the officer will take us back to a room, an interview room. The client will, or the immigrant rather, will sit on the other side of the desk. We as attorneys always, sit behind our client. We're in the room with our clients. And then what happens is there's actually will be a screen, like an iPad or a computer that's set on the desk right in front of you. And basically then the officer will be in a separate room. And so this is a way that USCIS is experimenting with making sure they have so many individuals that are coming for interviews that they have been able to really have more social distancing to keep people as safe as possible. So basically, if you go to your interview, you might just have an interview where the officer's on the other side of the plexiglass screen, or you might have one of these virtual interviews. So either way, don't panic. We just want you to know that it's something that we are seeing happening more frequently. And if you have a virtual interview, then they will have a computer, or like I said, a computer or an iPad in front of you. Then the officer will be in a separate room, and he or she will, they'll show up on the screen, on the computer screen or the iPad, and you'll be able to do your interview as if they were there in the room. And the officers have been really great about making sure that you can hear them and that they can hear you. And so some of our tips would be don't be afraid to let the officer know, oh, I didn't hear that. Sometimes with technology, it's great. But if, there's any issues with sound or video, don't be afraid to let the officer know. But for the most part, we have seen the technology that they've been using has been working well. We've been able to hear the officer very well and hear the questions as if they were in the room. And so that's what the virtual interviews are. That's what we're seeing. And then what will happen is there's certain papers that you have to sign or approve, and so they'll either bring those papers up on the screen for you to approve if there's any changes in your application, or we've also seen that what they'll do is they'll have a printer right next to you, so you'll have the computer screen with the officer talking to you, and then there'll be a printer right next to you, and the officer will say, okay, I'm going to print out whichever form that you'll have to sign now. It'll come off the printer, you'll sign it, and then you'll hold it up and show the officer so they can see you sign in the right place, and then they have you place it in a secure tray. And so what we do for our clients, if we're with them, then we can help them make sure they're signing in the right place and help orient you. If you're nervous during that process, of course you are. It's a very important day. But just wanted to give you some of those insider tips, things that we're seeing, just so you can be prepared and it doesn't catch you off guard if you happen to have a virtual interview.